lives on the western side, and around its edges are a series of roads passing through villages and across carland. Some days I drive out deliberately to feel for its shape, to see the light change over the surface of the flat fields, to remind myself of my own life lying over it like a dust sheet. I set off from my tiny village with its red pantiled roofs and corrugated iron church and head inland through the village of Caton, where my dad's body lay in the funeral home, and the housing estate of Eastfield, where I went to secondary school. I drive past the Crossgates estate where I grew up, past the boulder perched on its grass promontory, a boulder carried all the way from Cumbria in the belly of a glacier and left behind here when the glacier that carved the valley receded. I go on to Seamer, where my mum now lives, the mound of Seamer Beacon on the horizon, the road diverging, streaking up towards a Bronze Age burial site, then through Seamer village with the chapel I was married in, and out again, turning towards the wolds, and on past the fields beneath which the Mesolithic site of SARAH sleeps, then turning again towards the sea, navigating through Flixton and its long-lost islands, land of the Paleolithic people, through the place once known as Wolfland, where a hospital stood to give travellers refuge, through Folketon with its Norman church, and the Neolithic children's grave where the Folketon drums were found, a short walk away. I wind along the valley and turn north again, the lake to one side and the sea to the other, my back to my village and the place I know as home. Today I have cut across the lake, taken the car road. This is the only public road that traverses the site. It cuts through the footprint of the lake roughly 2/3 across on the eastern side. This bisection of the lake has Caton at one side and Folketon at the other, and in between is a flat expanse of land that was once the bottom of the lake, but now moves like water only because of wheat fields and long meadow grasses. There are farm tracks that cross the Car, the wetland areas where the lake once was, of course, and bridleways, sunken lanes and holloways down the valley sides, trade routes and dog-walking paths, and straggly, foot-worn places of passage, but this is the only place I can drive out to as part of my everyday journeys. This is the only place I can feel the gravity of driving along the bottom of the lake. I feel centred here, like the central point of a compass. To the north is the North Yorkshire Moors National Park, and the dales and valleys and villages my family would visit in our old, battered camper van. To the east is the North Sea, Scarborough, Filey, and Bridlington clinging onto the land, fishing boats clinking against each other in the harbours, cafes I worked in as a teenager, holiday flats we cleaned every weekend, the beach where I'd wander wide-eyed and hungover on a Saturday morning, the places I go fossil hunting and dog walking. To the south, the Yorkshire Wolds, those high chalk plateaus and valleys pocked with burial mounds and Iron Age forts. And to the west, the valley rolling on towards York, the edges closing and opening, rounded and smooth from the glacier that ground its way into the landscape at the last ice age, leaving this deep, wide U-shape, the glacial runoff forming the Paleolithic lake 12,000 years ago. This is the place that I have been rooted to, have circled my whole life, the place that is in me and the place that I am in, where I have lived and grown and been bereaved and been loved. The River Hertford, crossing the valley floor, is rippling with the deep pink and dusky blue of evening. The lights in the surrounding villages are coming on. The tail lights of cars are winding up the valley sides to the wolds. I park in a lay-by near the waterworks, a set of concrete tubes, tubs and metal platforms nestled in among a clump of willow and birch trees. I like the intersection between this modern structure of piped and processed water and waste and the long sweep of arable and pasture fields stretching out in front. Here there is a sense of time being a thin skin through which, if I press my face, I might see the SARAH people, and on through all the other lake people, the Romans, Saxons, Vikings and Normans, through the industrialisation of farming, the wartime bombing of the coastal towns, and up to this point, up to this person, me, time lapping against my feet. The lake is a place of transience and liminality. It has